friends, it's Mari for Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be taking you through the process of making this really fun, festive New Year's Day card. And I'm going to be using on the left the Sip Sip Hooray stamp and die set, and on the right the Raise a Glass stamp and die set from Honeybee Stamps. And I'm going to start off here with an A2 sized piece of cardstock. This is some Nina Solar White 80-pound card. And I'm going to be using the rectangle spotlight stencils and masks set from Honeybee Stamps. This is one of the masks, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick that with some repositionable adhesive onto my Nina cardstock. And I'm just centering it here using my grid mat, just kind of loosely eyeballing and trying to center this to leave a white margin that's fairly even around the outside edge of that rectangle. And I just wanted to do a little bit of ink blending on the white area here and leave that rectangle area in the center masked off. So I'm also going to be using a geometric background stencil from Honeybee Stamps. This is one of the many stencils in the Honeybee Stencil collection. And I really love the shapes of this one because they're going to kind of be a very similar shape to the glass that I'm going to be stamping in the center of this card. And you'll see that in a few minutes here. I'm going to take some micro pour tape and go ahead and stick this stencil down to my mat so that it doesn't move. And my Nina Solar White cardstock there is sticking to my grid mat with some Sizzix sticky grid paper. I will link up that sticky grid paper in the description box below because it's just a really great product that I really love using. Now, I'm going to go ahead and use some Gina K inks to blend onto the white area through this stencil. And I'm going to be using my Honeybee blending brushes here and some Ocean Mist ink from Gina K. So I'm going to start off with the Ocean Mist, blend that on through that geometric stencil. And you'll just see me doing that here. Just quickly going to blend that on. There's nothing too tricky about this. It's just picking up the ink with that Honeybee blending brush on the ink pad there, and then just going ahead and blending on that dye ink. I really love the color combination that I'm going to be using here. I thought about using that navy ink from Gina K, but I just end up using the Ocean Mist and Tranquil Teal. So like I said, I started with the Ocean Mist, and then you'll see me blending on the Tranquil Teal over top of the Ocean Mist just to add a little bit of dimension with that darker color. So I'm just, like I said, taking my time blending this on. I should have sped this part up. I apologize for that. This is nothing too tricky, just blending this on and going to get just a really nice subtle blend using that stencil. And the great thing about the stencil is when I lift that up, it's going to, of course, have white lines where the stencil is and create just this really cool pattern in that white area around the margin of where I've got that around the mask. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish up with that Ocean Mist and then add that Tranquil Teal over top. So I've just grabbed a different Honeybee brush here. And I'm starting off with clean brushes. I have made sure that these brushes don't have any other color on them, and just so that I don't contaminate my ink pad with a different color of ink. And here you can see I'm just brushing on lightly a little bit of the Tranquil Teal just to add that little bit of extra dark ink here and there combined with that Ocean Mist. And I really like how that is going to look when I reveal that, when I take off this geometric background stencil. So I'm all finished with that Tranquil Teal, and I will be revealing what this looks like right away here. I am going to be using a Tranquil Teal card base as well behind this white cardstock front that you see that I have blended that ink onto there. So that's how that's going to look. And now I'm also going to be taking the Twinkle, that's Twinkle Twinkle background stencil as well. And I'm going to run some Gina K Gold Glitz Glitter Gel over top of this Twinkle Twinkle background stencil. And that's just going to blend on some really pretty gold stars over top of that geometric stencil area that I created. The combination of the gold and the teal just looks really pretty. This is a really nice combination. So I'm just going to make sure that I've worked that medium through those areas of the stencil that have the stars. And this is what that looks like when it's all dry, and that Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel dries super quick. So there's that tranquil teal card base. Now I'm also going to be using the Scallop A2 card frames from Honeybee, and I'm going to use this size here. You can see I've already cut that out of some white cardstock, and I'm going to use that in that little spotlight area in that center rectangle area that's just been left white using that mask. I'm also going to stamp on that scallop rectangle, and I'm going to stamp out the martini glass from the Raise a Glass stamp set. I'm just stamping that with some black ink, and I also wanted to stamp the olive in the glass. I've masked a little area off with some washi tape so that the olive stick only goes partway into the glass, and you'll just see me removing that washi tape there, and there you can see that little olive in the glass there. I'm also going to be stamping out one of the sentiments. This one is from the Sip Sip Hooray stamp set, and the sentiment is going to say "Let's Party." I'm stamping that in some black ink, and I am going to do a little bit of heat embossing with some Ranger clear embossing powder over top of that black ink. This is some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink that dries slowly so that that embossing powder sticks nicely to that wet ink. And now I'm just heating up that embossing powder and melting it with my embossing gun, my heat gun. And I'm going to just take a little bit of washi tape, stick the die to that, and go ahead and cut that sentiment out. Now I want to just cut down this card front a little tiny bit so that there's a margin around the edge revealing that tranquil teal card base. I just take 1/8 of an inch off all of the different sides of that card front, and now you can see that there's just a little bit of that tranquil teal card base showing around the edge of my card front. Now this is kind of what I was going for a design here, so I'm just kind of showing you where I want to put those things. I want to take one of my polychromos pencils, and I'm just going to, with my colored pencil here, color my olive in. Olives aren't usually this color. Olives typically aren't teal, but this is just a fun, whimsical card, so I'm okay with my olive matching the rest of my card, and I'm going to color the pimento in the center pink so that I've got a teal and pink olive there in my martini glass. I'm going to go ahead and add some foam squares to the back of that scallop rectangle, and I'm going to go ahead and add that to that masked off area that is nice and white in that center of my card front. And that's just going to be nice and dimensional and popped up. I love the detail of that scalloped edge around the edge of that rectangle. And I just think this is really clean and simple and pretty, and it just has some really nice details. Now I'm going to go ahead and take some of the smaller foam adhesive squares and add those to my sentiment, which has been die cut now. Love that Honeybee Stamps has coordinating dies for that Sip Sip Hooray sentiment set. It is absolutely fantastic, and there are a ton of sentiments in that set that you can use for so many occasions. And I just thought this was a really fun set to use for a New Year's card, or any kind of a party card that you're looking for. This would be great for a birthday too. Now I'm taking some gold stickles and adding some bubbles to my little drink here, and that is going to finish that off. Now all I have to do is add that card front to my card base. I have added some Honeybee Stamps liquid glue adhesive to that card base, and I'm going to just go ahead. Now everything is dry. My stickles are dry, and all the different things are dry here that I've added to my card. And now my card is finished, and I really love how this turned out. I think this is just a really fun card for any kind of a party occasion. And I just thought, with today being New Year's Day, this would be a really fun card to show on this particular day. I hope you enjoyed this process and were inspired, and I have left links in the description box below for all of the products that I've used today from the Honeybee shop. Make sure you check those out, and have an amazing day, and Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Here's to a wonderful year. Bye-bye.